So here's the biggest problem with glyphosate. Can't smell it, can't taste it, no one's testing for it. And even if there was a new lab that showed up, I don't even trust the industry. They could have a fake lab and say, yeah, everything's fine. You can't put that much of a toxin into the environment and not have an effect. We're seeing it, the soil is dead. Our gut microbiome was being destroyed. We're seeing I told that story about plants and animals to show you that we're under attack as animals and our food supply. And most important thing that you already know is that humans really weren't designed to eat that green growing grass. The ruminants were, and that's where I want to say cows, sheep, goats, any animal that chews its cud, they're kosher or they're halal. These are the animals that are very low in deuterium because they have multiple stomach chambers. They're eating a low deuterium substrate, grass. That's very low in deuterium. We're not supposed to eat grass. We're supposed to let the animals eat it. They break it down in their gut microbiome, and then we eat their meat and their milk. That's what we've done for millions of years, right? So the whole plant-based and vegan thing is a disaster because we're omnivores, so we can survive on stuff, but we were really designed to eat the meat of ruminants. And again, that's the lowest deuterium food is the food of ruminants, or the meat of ruminants and the fat, because how these animals filter their deuterium, how they take in their food and their energy. So the idea that the powers that be are trying to get us to not eat meat, we're just going to such bad territory, and I don't know anymore, you know?
That is so wild. The highest glyphosate food that you would think, is this corn and wheat, or is oats as well?
Oats for sure, barley, everything that's low in the ground. So I have some podcasts with Stephanie Seneff where we kind of go over it, but it was wheat for sure. Wheat is desiccated. It doesn't have to be labeled.
It dries it out so it doesn't mold, right? Yeah.
Corn, definitely. These are GMO crops. I mean, these are designed to have this stuff sprayed all over. But barley, wheat, some of the higher ones, definitely oats.
So drinking beer is not a good idea.
Well, technically, yeah. It's where is there an organic beer? Is there a beer out there where someone's tested? I think the biggest issue is that, you know, everyone. So you've heard of Monsanto, and we won against Monsanto. Not really. There was a big lawsuit. Is glyphosate a carcinogen? Yeah, for sure. But more than that, it's a toxin in our environment. So Monsanto was bought by Bayer. Same people, guys, same people. Nobody would actively, they bought that company because they're just going to spin it around. They're not stopping making Roundup. It's still for sale at 7-Eleven. You can still get it. This is still out there. So the only way for us as a species to understand what's happening is to go to the kids and to put this into popular culture. That's why I wanted to make these cartoon characters, because kids are all stuck on TikTok. And they want to do dances, they want to do all that different stuff that's going to excite them. We need to put this biology and this chemistry into that world and let that go viral. Not because it's important, but because it's fun. Of course it's important, but I really want this next generation of kids to have an opportunity to see what they're dealing with. Now, everything I told you about vitamin D and sleep apnea, people are gonna, and they say this many times about me. Well, it sounds a little weird. You think everything's caused by low vitamin D, and you're just a dentist, not a real doctor. I don't care. I don't need you to believe me. I need you to look at the science and make a decision for yourself. And I say to any adult who doesn't want to follow my recommendations on having a higher vitamin D level or my sleep or my blue block, any of that stuff that I recommend, that's fine. But if you have kids, I ask you, if you care about your child's life, it's such a simple, inexpensive thing to do is to supplement these things. There's, of course, I have my own vitamin line, but I'm not pushing because I don't have a chewable kids one yet, but I'm trying to. And you can get Nordic Naturals. It's a D3K2 combo. Give it to your child with some magnesium, you're done. More than that, you don't really need to worry about. And it could save you $20,000 in orthodontic fees, but more importantly, monitoring, maintaining, and having a high vitamin D level can prevent your child from going through something like I did, being diagnosed with Crohn's disease at age 14. It was not a good life for me, and I had all those medical issues of that come along with that. There's a much higher incidence of kids coming down with this. Is happening everywhere. Why? Vitamin D deficiency, destruction of the gut microbiome. Where that vitamin D overlaps with the glyphosate, it's extra bad. This is just really terrible stuff. And so why are these kids getting cancer more? Imagine what their vitamin D level is. Imagine.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're not out in the sun. I mean, they're on the phones. Yep. Or.
Okay, but so this is one more thing that I just want to throw in there that you're not going to like this either. But the enzyme that converts hydroxylates vitamin D, makes it active, is destroyed by glyphosate. So glyphosate in your kid's food is lowering their vitamin D level. Now, if you tested their actual vitamin D, they will have a ton of vitamin D in their body if you're supplementing or if they're in the sun, but they can't activate it, so it's not measurable. So if you take your kid for a test and you're like, I've been giving my kid vitamin D, but they're also getting Cheerios. They're also getting that food. So you are interfering with this. There's certain enzymes that are very susceptible. This is Stephanie Seneff's work. And the reason is in the CYP27, I think it is enzyme that hydroxylates vitamin D, that the way the enzyme is structured, it has the chemical structure is really messed up when you take out a glycine and put in a glyphosate. And again, that's what makes glyphosate so dangerous, is that it is an imposter for one of our own 20 amino acids. When I tell you you're made up of 5 elements and all amino acids, this is a big deal to take one away. And when you put that glyphosate in, it's got an extra, it's a phosphoryl group. It just interferes with the folding of everything. That's how when you spray on something, you spray it on, stuff dies within less than 24 hours. Why? It destroys an enzyme in the shikimate enzyme pathway. There are 7 shikimate enzymes. They've been called shikimate, but I was corrected, shikimate. And these enzymes are the ones that make melatonin, serotonin. People are having issues with anxiety and depression. It's a multiple assault on us. And this isn't even stuff that you've been talking about. This is real. When the shikimate enzymes die, we die. The reason that Roundup is not labeled as toxic is because we actively don't have the shikimate enzyme pathway in us, but our gut microbiome does. That's why we have that soil with us. We need those chemical products, and those enzymes are getting killed. You'll see one of my cartoon characters is Yokiro. She is the sad shikimate enzyme, crying all the time. Why? Well, she's being destroyed. This one enzyme is the one that just stops you dead in your tracks. And only by understanding the actual molecular biology is there ever going to be a change. And I believe it's completely knowable if you, from an early age, start to see science in a completely different way. Not, periodic table of elements, chemistry, horrible, horrible. I had a great physics teacher in 9th grade, changed science for me. So I want to put my stuff out there to make science much more interesting and potentially even cool.